The police will train to go into the Pike River mine drift for the planned re-entry next year, but they may still decide not to go underground. Officials from the Pike River Recovery Agency, police and the Chief Coroner met with families of Pike River victims in Greymouth today to update them on the re-entry plans. The minister responsible for Pike River announced last week that work to break the 30-metre seal in the mine, where 29 men died, is expected to start in February. The police are carrying out their own risk assessment of the plan and are yet to decide if any of their staff will enter the drift. I asked Police Assistant Commissioner Response and Operations, Tusha what concerns she has.
Lisa, under the health and safety legislation and just as an employer, we just want to make sure that we do our own sort of independent risk assessment to make sure that when the police executives make the decision whether or not to send our staff under, that we're from a really robust position.
So who's doing that?
So at the moment we're actually scouting out for a few international experts, one who can look at the overall plan and then someone else to have a look at the ventilation plan for us. So we're hoping that can be done as quickly as possible.
So it hasn't even started yet. You're still seeking the experts to carry it out for you.
So just today we've had another discussion with the Recovery Agency and other people, just making sure that the people we have already identified are actually the people that we need to engage with. We have had conversations already, but I just want to make the point that it won't affect any of the training that's already been booked in. So we have got staff, up to 20 staff, who are going to do some familiarisation training. So that's going down to actually a mine to go underground just to see how everyone feels, because unless you've been underground, you probably don't know whether it's something for you. And then second phase will be actually undergoing some climatisation and induction training around mine protocol and safety techniques and everything else. So that training we've booked in and is still going ahead.
Okay, two things there. When do you expect to make a decision by?
So look, we've got no time frame set in, but what we are doing is we are trying to get the decision or the information we need as soon as possible so that we can make a recommendation up to the police executive, because we do know that there are time frames in place. So we just feel it's really important, though, to have this secondary check around the risk assessment for us to ensure that when our police staff go down there, everything that we have done to be a good employer has been done.
Last week, with regards to the training, last week in a written response, the police told us that they weren't participating in the Otago mine training, which was due to start later this month. So have you changed your minds on that?
I know. So I don't know about that media release, Lisa, but what I can say is we are going to do some joint training in December. And look, we're very much, we are not mine experts, so we need to make that point. So, just today I've spent a lot of time with the Chief Operating Officer from the Recovery Agency, Dingy Pattinson, who is an expert in all things mines, and talked about what sort of training we need. So whatever training we need to make sure that our people can do to make them safe if they go into the re-entry, we will absolutely sign up to do.
Okay, so you're doing all the training, but that's not a commitment to go underground, is it? You could still say no.
No, but it is a commitment to be prepared so that if we do go under, that our staff are well trained, both in the familiarisation, so have that opportunity to know, because it may sound okay, but you go underground in a mine and you might have a reaction you didn't know. So really important that we do familiarisation, and then secondly, like I said, that we do as detailed or intensive training as the mine experts tell us would be required of police staff to actually go under in those circumstances.
But to be clear, just so people are not misled or confused, just because you're doing the training does not mean you will go down into the drift. No,
that's correct.
Okay.
We're doing the training to be prepared, but we will await the secondary risk assessments that we're doing, and then we will then put that information to the police executive, who ultimately will make the decision whether or not police re-enter the mine.
What reassurances were you able to give the Pike River families today that if you don't go into the drift, the integrity of this operation will be preserved, because it is primarily about gathering evidence and information to look for the cause and also potentially to bring human remains out? Yeah,
absolutely. So we had a very comprehensive and good conversation today with the family and their representatives, including really experienced legal brains. So, of course, the integrity of the investigation is at the forefront of our mind. In fact, it's the key point of us being there, and to carry out any procedures on behalf of the Chief Coroner, who is also present. So, we talked about things like what processes we'd follow, and talked about Plan A and Plan B, whether we were to go down and actually do the initial work ourselves, or whether our police staff would actually be standing outside still making sure that everything was done with integrity. As we've told them, it's the first of many conversations that we'll have, and we're committed to step them through exactly the process so everyone feels very comfortable and everyone's
So who
really
is Plan
open.
B? So who is Plan B? If you don't go down, who collects the material? Who does that?
So, as we said, it's a little bit like any crime scene, actually, Lisa, that we have throughout the country. Sometimes you get crimes that occur and you'll have people pick up various exhibits, whether they know that or not. So let's say we have, a serious assault. Someone could actually end up picking up a hammer, walk 2 kilometres or go to the police station and give it to you. That integrity of the exhibit can still be maintained. So, look, every single process will be well thought of.
That's the exception. I understand that example, but that's the exception to the rule. As a general basis, you would collect, or ESR would collect evidence for a court case or from a crime scene. That is your first priority. That's the way you would like it to be. So if it's not going to be you and it's not going to be ESR because they have ruled themselves out here, who's Plan B? Will the police train minors to do this job?
Yeah, well, potentially that is an option that we have to sit down, like the miners would train us in relation to safety, in relation to the initial preliminary pickup of any exhibits that were located there, and hand immediately to police or ESR staff as soon as it comes out. And as we talk through, again, with some pretty senior legal minds around that table too, the integrity of these exhibits will be maintained whether we're there or not. And we're working really hard to have a finite decision as soon as we can in relation to police re-entering.
Are you absolutely sure that those exhibits will stand up in court? Because police have made mistakes around Pike River before. Are you sure?
So look, what we're looking forward to, we're looking from today to the future, and the commitment we have absolutely given not only those families but New Zealand is that we will ensure that the integrity of the investigation and completion of the crime scene investigation is paramount, and it will be done to the highest standard. No matter whether we're there actually in the mine or not, that will happen.
Do the families trust you? Because Bernie Monk has said that the ideal situation would be if no police were involved that had previously been involved in Pike River before. They would like a totally fresh batch of police officers to deal with this. Are you going to agree to that?
So what I can say, look, trust is a really big word. I met with the family today, for many of them for the very first time that I'd met with them, and police have given the families a commitment. I personally gave them a commitment today about the way we will communicate, about how we'll be transparent with all our processes, and so I suppose can they trust us? Of course they can. We're looking to the future, but that's a question for the families.
Will that be a fresh batch of police who are dealing with the Pike River operation re-entry?
What we're having is we'll make sure that we've got the right skilled police. So, look, to be honest, it will be a mixture of people who have got some knowledge of it. There are new staff being brought in all the time. I myself have only been involved with Pike River for the last week. So what we can assure people is we will have the right police officers at the right level with the right experience, and we have one purpose, and that is to support the recovery agency and to make sure that the investigation we do will be absolutely to the highest standard that possible.
And that is Tusha Penny there. She's the Police Assistant Commissioner who is involved in Pike River, the re-entry program, saying that the police will train, but they haven't decided yet whether they will go in.